Good day, folks, whatever time zone you are in, wherever you are. Uh, I just wanted to share something with you. Uh, it's just about what's on the world news and the current happenings. And as you know, uh, ever since President Trump took office his second term, uh, it's been like 2 months, little over 2 months. 2 months. Uh, he has been. It started out as though it's a joke, but he seems quite serious about taking over Greenland. Now uh, he's very vocal and expressing his strong ambitions of taking over Greenland. And before we listen to him, because I think the Secretary, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, I believe. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's a Dutch name. The last name is pronounced Rutte. I don't want to pronounce it's like a woman's name. Some newscaster uh, pronounced it's Ruth. I think it's. I like to say the way I feel, right? I think it's Ruta or Rata, whatever. It's a Dutch name. So forgive me for that. Anyway, met with Mark Rutte, NATO Secretary General. Now, who is Mark Rutte? Briefly, he has been the former uh, former uh, Prime Minister of Netherlands, and he has been the longest serving Prime Minister in Dutch history from to 2006 to 2023, and he took the uh, the position as the uh, Secretary General of NATO only last year, 2024, towards the latter part of uh, last year, 2024. Now, having said, Trump met with him. Before I play the videos on what Trump is saying and what the NATO is saying, it's about Greenland. It's been on news last 2 months, ever since President Trump's second term in office commenced. That said, Greenland has 56,000 people, most from indigenous Inuit background, has been on world news, as you know, since Trump announced his intention to purchase the entire island soon after winning his second presidential term in the US. Greenland is a self-governing region of Denmark and has been somewhat inclined to achieve independence since 2009. Jens Frederik Nielsen's a politician, this is Greenland, a politician in the Greenland belonging to the Democrats, spelled with differently. It's a pro-business party that favors a slow path to independence, won a surprising victory on March 12th, 2025, barely 2 days ago. The two left-leaning parties that formed the last government in Greenland met with defeat, and the pro-business party known as Jan Frederik Nielsen's pro-business party, with most Greenland opposing Trump's overtures. The Greenland election campaigns focused on issues like healthcare and education rather than geopolitics. The fourth and the fifth main parties in the election supported independence, though they disregarded on when and how to achieve. They want independence. We don't want to be Americans. No, we don't want to be Danes either. We want to be Greenlanders, and we want our own independence in the future. And we want to build our own country by ourselves. Who said this? It's the new Prime Minister of Greenland. He was. It was said that because it was the party that he represents was known as a pro-business party, so he would favor President Trump's overtures, but that doesn't seem to happen. Now they are expressing their opposition. And having said that, now listen to what President Trump has to say together with the NATO General Secretary, Mark Rutte. Forgive me for the pronunciation, it's a Danish name. Thank you. Now listen to both these leaders. Here we have Mark Rutte in the White House meeting with President Trump. The NATO General Secretary Mark Rutte, forgive me again for the mispronunciation of the last name.
If you will have a NATO which is really reinvigorated under your leadership, and we are getting there. We also discuss defense production because we need to produce more weaponry. We are not doing enough. And not in the US, not in Europe, and we are lagging behind when you compare to the Russians and the Chinese. And you have a huge defense industrial base. Europeans buying 4 times more here than the other way around, which is good because you have a strong defense industry, but we need to do more there to make sure that we are ramp up the production and kill the red tape. So I would love to work with you on that. And finally, Ukraine, you broke the deadlock. As you said, all the killing, the young people dying, cities getting destroyed. The fact that you did that you started the dialogue with the Russians and the successful talks in Saudi Arabia now with the Ukrainians. I really want to commend you for this. So, The Hague is my hometown. I love to host you there in the summer and work together to make sure that will be a splash, a real success, projecting American power on the world stage.
What Mark is saying is when I first went to NATO, my first meeting, I noticed that very few people were paying. And if they weren't paying their fair share. There were only 7 countries that were paying what they were supposed to be paying, which was... Yeah,
it's even worse.
It could be even worse. But there were just very few countries that were paying, and even the paying, it was at 2%, which is too low. It should be higher. It should be quite a bit higher. But yet Poland, and I remember Poland was actually paying a little bit more than they were supposed to, which I was very impressed with. They've been actually terrific, and some of the others. But most of them weren't paying, or they were paying very little. And I didn't think it was appropriate to bring it up there, but I said it's going to be brought up at my next meeting. And my next meeting, the first meeting, you want to give them a little break. The second meeting, it began, and I was able to raise hundreds of billions of dollars. I just said, we're not going to be involved with you if you're not going to pay. And the money started pouring in, and NATO became much stronger because of my actions and working along with a lot of people, including Mark, but they would not pay for other presidents, and I don't think other presidents even knew that they weren't paid. I asked first question, has everybody paid up? And literally, I mean, they told me 7. You could be right, it could be 3, but that makes it even worse. But they just weren't paying. And I said, no, I won't protect if you're not paying. If you're delinquent or if the money isn't paid, why would we do that? And as soon as I said that, got a little hit from the press because they said, oh, gee, that's not very nice. But if you said the other, nobody would have paid. And the money started coming in by the billions. And, hundreds of billions of dollars flowed into NATO, and NATO became strong. Yeah. And you remember that. Your predecessor, who I thought was a very good man.
Absolutely. Yes, Stoltenberg. He sends his best greetings.
He was terrific. Stoltenberg, Secretary General. And he made the statement that when Trump came in, the money started coming in like we never saw before. Hundreds of billions, actually probably close to $600 billion came in, and NATO became strong from that standpoint. And now we have to use it wisely, and we have to get this war over with, and you'll be back to a normal, much more normal life. And maybe we're close. We're getting words that things are going okay in Russia, and it doesn't mean anything until we hear what the final outcome is. But they have very serious discussions going on right now with President Putin and others. And hopefully they all want to end this nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's a horrible thing when you look. I get pictures every week. They give me the pictures of the battlefield, which I almost don't want to see. It's so horrible to see young people laying arms and legs and heads laying all over the field. It's the most terrible thing that you'll ever see. And it's got to stop. These are young people with mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and friends. And it's got to stop. So we hopefully are going to be in a good position sometime today to have a good idea. We'll have, we know where we are with Ukraine, and we are getting good signals outside of Russia as to where we are with Russia. And hopefully they'll do the right thing. It's really humanity. We're talking about humanity. We're not talking about the money. But then you add the money to it, and hundreds of billions of dollars is being spent and really wasted so unnecessarily. It should have never happened. So it's an honor to have you here. They picked a great gentleman. I'll tell you, I was so happy to hear, because you had somebody, Stoltenberg was really good, and you have somebody that's going to do an incredible job. And I was so much in favor of you. You have no idea. They had another person that I did not like. I was not happy. And I think I kept him from, you know what I'm talking about. I said, this is the right man to do it. And he really did. He was a great prime minister of the Netherlands. He did a great job. And that's what he's doing right now. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And it's a very great honor to have you. And we even have some of our great energy people here today, right? We have the governor, and we have Chris, Chris, right? Supposed to be the most talented man in the world of energy, according to the governor. So I don't know if he's right. And we have General, you've been fantastic. Thank you very much. And we have a lot of good people that won't be so much involved with this, but they wanted to see what was happening. It's become a little bit of a show, but they wanted to see what was happening, and I think a lot of good things are happening. So with that, if anybody would have a question.
Mr. President, on Russia.
Please, go ahead.
So, Adam,
I'm sorry.